Welcome to Module 4, and in this module you're going to be covering connectivism and online collaborative learning. And what I wanted to do in this particular module video is focus on connectivism and one of the readings that you have in addition to the Harrison reading and also some scholarly articles about connectivism. The George Simmons article, Connectivism, A Learning Theory for the Digital Age, is really one of the most influential articles in the theory, if you want to call it a theory, or the philosophy of connectivism. And Harrison discusses it in detail in her chapter about connectivism, but at the same time, it is really always nice to go back to the central text and look at what's being said there, because as you know, in the chapter on connectivism, or as you will learn, Harrison has her own perspective about the value of connectivism as a learning theory. So I wanted to highlight a few points of Simmons' article about connectivism, because this is the one that you will see referred to over and over again, and it is cited regularly in any discussion about connectivism. I wanted to highlight the trends in learning that Simmons outlines. And remember, this article was written in 2005, and we're seeing much of these trends have evolved in and of themselves. So when you think about the variety of learning environments and think about the difference between 2005 and what we're experiencing in the late teens, there have been even more learning environments that have been generated. The technology has changed considerably. His point about informal learning is such an important one when you think about badges and certificates and boot camps and all the different ways people are learning, both within schools and learning institutions as well as organizations. Again, I won't talk my way through all of these points, but I wanted to highlight them for you because I do think they're important for you to keep in mind, not only when you're thinking about connectivism and incidentally when you're thinking about online collaborative learning, because many of them do apply there as well, but just thinking about learning theory as a cultural theory. And it is interesting the way Simmons highlights that cultural theory. The next thing I'd like to turn you to is just the principles of connectivism. And here again, you can debate whether or not connectivism is a theory or if it's just merely a philosophy. But at the same time, there are certain key things that are highlighted here in terms of how we develop and construct knowledge. And this is really what's being emphasized with the principles of connectivism, the construction of knowledge, the fact that there's a need for a diversity of opinions in order to reach different conclusions. And there also needs to be a diversity of learning sources, because it's not just a one source principle. You need to find a number of different sources to find all the different ways you can explore an area. The notion of learning may reside in non-human appliances. That is very interesting when you think about first Simmons' view about organizations and the importance of organizations as learning entities, as well as the way he defines technology, because he thinks about technology as the interactive, collaborative technology that we're experiencing with Web 2.0 and the many different tools that it has generated, while some might argue, as Harrison discusses, that technology can really go back to people drawing on the cave walls. So there are many different ways of thinking about technology, and Simmons clearly has his own particular perspective. Again, I'm not going to go through all of these principles, but these are the things that I wanted to highlight for you to really think about connectivism and think about the debate that connectivism generates. And one thing I have found with connectivism is I find it a very visual theory or visual philosophy. So I turned to my friend, Dr. Google, and to find out what kind of images of connectivism I could find, and I'm just posting for you my search. It's just interesting to explore those images, the way people try to visualize a theory. And we've talked about this a little bit previously in terms of mind mapping, for example, that it is nice to be able to see the way these theories are organized. And finally, with that, I'm going to turn you back to your traditional book, and I hope you enjoy your reading and readings for this week, and also all of the activities. Take care.